Hi there, I'm Bryan Davies, Strategic Content Director for Nokia's Core Enterprise Solutions. And I'm here today at Critical Communications World 2025, where the industry is coming together to showcase all of the latest technology for critical use cases. So today I have the honor of being here with Ildefonso De La Cruz, who is the Senior Principal Analyst at Omdia, who covers the critical communications space. So Alfonso, thank you for joining us.
The pleasure is all mine.
Well, I have, a couple of questions for you. First of all, what are your impressions of the show?
Well, the energy of this show is palpable. It is clear and is the perfect embodiment of the interest of end users and governments to bring technology to optimize the performance of these critical use cases, not just public safety, but also utilities, transportation, defense. The interest is just there, is how to make it a reality. And the conversations between industry, decision makers, and end users is what makes it possible.
Now, in your role at Omdia, what is your approach to critical communications?
I focus on the research of critical communications, and critical communications is a big umbrella. Obviously, the security, the reliability, the effectiveness of technology is what makes them all common, but then there are different nuances to each of the end users. My role is to understand the different languages and experiences of these end users, and then connect the dots between what is possible in the technology landscape and bring them to a happy medium in order to really create the educated information about what is the technology dynamics, what is the buyer intent, what are the projections of the demand growing in the near future.
Yeah, so Nokia and Omdia just completed 2 eBooks. The first one is on public safety. What are the key takeaways that you found in that ebook?
Yes, well, that is exactly correct. I think public safety is the perfect example of a group of end users going through a paradigm shift. These are end users who've been entrusting the public protection and disaster relief to their radios, but they were limited to just voice. And voice has been critical to guarantee the success of their operations. But as the world evolves, the needs for video and data transmission are more palpable than ever. But also the possibility of collaboration and communication across different teams, different agencies, in order to guarantee the maximum chances of a successful outcome in an emergency response. So it all boils down to the need for a new technology to then enhance what they already have, and that is 4G and 5G. And that's what the interest in the show sort of focuses on, how to bring together the technology solutions to enable all of the plans for these end users.
All right, so the utility sector is also undergoing major transformation as well. So what do you see are the most important shifts in that domain?
Well, you're absolutely right. I think utilities are and have always been a highly connected group, like vertical or industry sector. But it is more and more obvious that there's a digitalization process that aims to create more effective and optimize the process and the information that can be captured in real life. So we could already find SCADA sensors in the grid, but these have to be upgraded to really become a smart grid, which is the objective of the utility companies and end users. And for that, private networks that guarantee the reliability of the connectivity is the real enabler of their roadmap and vision for the future of utilities.
So you just saw our demo over here of the Nokia Core Enterprise Solution combined with the Leonardo MC linX platform. So I have a question for you on that. So how do you see that, what you actually saw, resonating with where the industry is going?
It's not just resonating, it's the reason why most of the attendees are here, to actually see real life examples. I think the key part of the demo is the fact that it was live, that we are moving from planning and technology to real deployments that can make an impact, and they can get deployed today, paving the way to the future.
All right. Well, I'm actually kind of curious. So what is your perception of the Nokia Leonardo partnership, in light of the press release that we had last week, as well as what you've actually seen?
Well, I think it's the perfect partnership between two powerhouses bringing the best of their technologies, and it's the perfect example of how cloud native design helps with the integration of different parts of the network that are necessary in a very smooth way. So you bring Leonardo, they've got a lot of experience in the TETRA market. They bring their MCX solution with the power of 4G and 5G brought by Nokia, and they all work perfectly, and it can be seen in the live demo today at the show. So that will literally light up the eyes of many of the attendees that witness that.
Okay. Well, let me switch gears a little bit. We had a webinar with you maybe 3 weeks ago, I guess. Mm-hmm. So was there any surprises that you saw in the audience reaction?
Not a surprise, because I had a feeling of how the message was going to resonate, but it was sort of a confirmation of my suspicions. The idea that technology is ready to make an impact, not only in public safety and utilities, but also we can move it to the transportation, railways in particular, that we touched upon during the webinar. The fact that we are talking about the messages and the questions that the end users are having, and the decision makers that are looking ahead, that was sort of a great moment to see that the response was being received very positively to our targeted audience.
I guess another thing is that you've been speaking to a lot of the end users of this kind of technology.
Yeah.
So from a public safety and utility standpoint, what are these buyers really looking for?
They are looking for future-proofing their solutions. They want to make sure that their end users, first responders, that the smart grid settings that they have planned are always reliable. And they are now asking the questions of how technology can help secure four main pillars: the fact that they're secure, the fact that they're effective, the fact that they're reliable, and the fact that they're gonna be, for lack of a better word, ubiquitous. But what I mean by that is that when and where they're needed, they'll be operational.
Yeah. All right, I guess I probably would like to ask you a question from your analyst perspective. So, and obviously this will be one I'm very interested in. What differentiators do you see Nokia having?
Well, Nokia has a differentiator that is critical in what I meant by future-proofing the solution. It's a dynamic ecosystem. So the design of the architecture being cloud native is the real enabler of making future solutions and integrated in a seamless and smooth way. Because we are moving from monolithic type of architectures that were very complex, and the upgrade was really complicated. Right. But as we move into the future, a modular cloud-based design is the way to make these things not only possible, but effective and a transition that is seamless.
Excellent. Well, before we close, I do want to mention that we have 2 ebooks that we'll link in the description to this video. We also held that webinar, and that link will be down there as well. And one thing we didn't mention here was that we also recorded a podcast with the Crit Comm Circles. This is Omdia's podcast.
Absolutely.
And so that link will be down in the description below as well. So thanks again for joining us and providing your perspective that, from an analyst's point of view.
Always a pleasure.
So the momentum, I think, is increasing. The partnerships, the ecosystem collaborations, and the alignment with open standards is really going to accelerate the adoption of broadband data in these critical industries.
Absolutely.
So for those that are watching, thank you for your time, and we'll catch you on the next one.